Halo Infinite was never a good game. Not at launch, not now, and probably won't be for a while. There's this idea that Halo Infinite actually launched in a good state, and the only reason that it died off is because of lack of content, lack of updates for the game. How many of you remember people acting like Halo Infinite was the best game of the three? Battlefield 2042, Call of Duty Vanguard, and Halo Infinite. You know, people acted like Vanguard and Battlefield 2042 were in a horrible state. These games were awful. And they felt like Infinite was actually killing it. Infinite was doing a good job. But you can make a solid argument that Infinite was the worst of the three. Halo Infinite was never a good game. Not even at launch. This was a terrible, not only Halo game, but just game in general. From day one. I don't feel like I should have to run through all the things wrong with this game, things that were wrong at launch and still are, but it seems like some people forget. So just to name a few, no progression system, terrible UI that doesn't load sometimes, broken theater mode, awful ranking system, bad player customization, no split screen co-op, no co-op campaign, no mission replay, custom games are broken, we don't have Firefight, don't have Forge obviously, and various other things. Halo Infinite was a mess at launch, and it still is now. And I think I know what the confusion is here. The confusion of why people think that Halo Infinite was actually a good game at launch. Well, I think some people are confused, and other people it's just to cope. But what really happened at launch of Halo Infinite is people were blinded by hype. They got sucked in again. Oh yeah, Halo's back. And then they got disappointed, you know, like reality set in. It was like, oh, okay. That's what happened. That's what happened at launch. The game was never good. It wasn't in a good state at launch. It was just new at launch. That's all it was. It was new. It was the first mainline Halo game in 6 years. That's all it was. This idea that it was actually a solid start for the game, and the only reason it died off is because of a lack of updates, is so foolish. Like, you're lying to yourself if you actually believe that. And something else to keep in mind when we talk about lack of updates and lack of content for Halo Infinite post-launch is that Halo Infinite is supposed to be a live service game. So that makes the lack of updates even worse, because it's a live service game. And when we look back to past Halo games, some of them, or many of them, kind of did a better job with live service than Halo Infinite is doing. I mean, Halo Reach, Halo 3, and I think Halo 2, they got like more maps in a shorter period of time than Halo Infinite has. Halo 5's live service was better than Halo Infinite's. And many other live service games do a better job at live service than Halo Infinite. So I want to make that clear that with Halo Infinite being a live service game, that makes the lack of content and updates just like 10 times worse, because this is supposed to be a live service game. Past Halo games that launched with a ton of content, even a ton of content by today's standards, those weren't live service games. And many of us are well aware of how incompetent 343 is when it comes to making Halo games. But also look beyond just Halo games, right? Look at how they've handled live service and how terrible of a job they've done with live service. Look at how bad of a job they've done with open world. Halo Infinite's open world experience is like the most bare bones open world I've ever seen in a video game. Look at how bad the Halo Infinite UI is, how bad their store is, not in terms of prices, but just the lackluster items in the store. Like, these are things that are not exclusive to Halo, right? Like, this isn't just, oh, they're not good at making Halo games. No, they fucked up in other areas that go beyond just Halo. And so that just reinforces the idea that 343 is one of the most incompetent game developers of all time. And that should be more clear now than ever before. People have said that Halo Infinite has a good foundation, but how beneficial is a good foundation if you don't build upon it? Like, the game's almost been out for a year now, and they've barely built upon this good foundation. Like, but aside from that, I also don't think Halo Infinite's foundation is that great. Depending on what you're talking about, right? Like, what do we actually mean by good foundation? Like, if we're talking about the gameplay, like, oh, they got the, I mean, they did a better job with the gameplay in Halo Infinite than Halo 4 and Halo 5, so that's a good start. Like, if that's what we're talking about, then yeah, I understand where you're coming from when you say it's a good foundation. But when we just look at the game in its entirety at launch, that is not a good foundation. That's a terrible foundation. That's the complete opposite of a good foundation. What are we talking about? And also, with Halo Infinite being in development for so long and being the Halo game of 2021, it needed to do a lot more than just launch with a good foundation. And you know something that's a part of Halo Infinite's foundation? Desync. And this is going to get its own video. I'm gonna do a separate video on desync, right? That's getting its own thing. I know I've talked about it in the past, but I'm going to do another video on it because, I mean, it is a huge issue, and I think that it gets downplayed. And even if you think Halo Infinite's gameplay is phenomenal, even you think it's the best gameplay out of any game you've ever played, I mean, how much does that really matter when desync is as big of an issue as it is? Like, it's a massive issue. I'm not going to talk about it too much here because, again, it's getting a separate video. But yeah, Halo Infinite might just have the worst foundation out of any Halo game. I mean, out of many, compared to many other games. Desync, UI not loading, like, what? And we're saying this game has a good foundation? We're saying this game launched in a good state when the UI doesn't load some? Yo, y'all are looking at Forge right now? And just, it's like you're ignoring all the other problems. Not you, but like some people are just like, oh, look how good Forge looks. Dude, I don't give a fuck about Forge. Many people don't. When issues like desync and UI issues are not fixed. Like, that's what I mean. People are downplaying like the severity of some of these other issues. They're looking to Forge like that matters when the game has all these other issues, huge issues. I mean, I'm not going to say Forge doesn't matter at all. Yeah, some people are going to enjoy it, but for many of us, we're not going to give a fuck about Forge when the game is missing all these other things and has all these issues. But anyways, that's going to do it for that one. You know, so can we stop with the whole, oh, Halo Infinite, it had a really good start, man. It was a strong game at the start with its broken UI and its broken theater mode and its desync and its no progression system. There's no co-op, no mission. It had a really good fucking start. Yeah, it was great. Who the fuck? What kind of clown says some shit like that? Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.